Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever felt like you're just constantly putting out fires? Solving the same problems over and over
Oh,
again?
absolutely. Or wondering why a really good idea just doesn't seem to stick.
Exactly. If that sounds familiar, well, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're taking a real deep dive into the world of sustainable quality, true efficiency, and how to genuinely solve problems, not just, patch up the symptoms.
Right, getting to the root of it.
Yeah. And our sources for this journey, they're packed with some crucial frameworks, everything from lean and Kaizen
The classics.
to the hidden costs of poor quality, which we'll get into, and a deceptively simple technique that's incredibly powerful for root cause analysis.
Hmm.
So our mission today is pretty clear. We want to equip you with insights to not just spot problems, but to actually build robust systems that prevent them in the first place. That leads to genuine efficiency and, let's be honest, probably a lot more satisfaction.
Definitely more satisfaction. What's fascinating here, I think, is that while a lot of these concepts, yeah, they started in manufacturing.
Right, you hear about Toyota and places like that.
Exactly. But their core principles are just incredibly versatile. They really offer a blueprint for excellence in pretty much any process, any field, even just in our daily lives, honestly.
Hmm.
So we'll be sort of guiding you through these foundational philosophies, looking at some specific, really actionable techniques, and then hitting that critical financial perspective, how poor quality can just silently eat away at value.
Okay, let's dive in. So, our sources lay out this really powerful idea, almost like an equation. Lean manufacturing plus Kaizen equals sustainable quality. How does that fundamentally shift things from, say, a more traditional view of quality?
That's a great starting point because it completely reframes the whole concept. Traditionally, quality was often seen as something you check at the end.
The inspection step.
The final inspection, exactly.
Yeah.
But if we look at this equation, lean plus Kaizen, it means quality isn't just about the final thing the customer gets. It's something that's built into every single stage, every step of the process.
Ah, so it's proactive.
Completely proactive. Preventative, not reactive.
So it's not just about speed then, or even just making things cheaper necessarily. It sounds like it's about a smarter kind of efficiency.
Exactly. Smart efficiency is a good way to put it. Lean, at its core, it's about maximizing the value for the customer while simultaneously minimizing waste.
Right.
And waste can be anything, time, materials, effort,
Right, wasted movement, all that.
all of it. And then you bring in Kaizen, which it's Japanese for change for the better, and that emphasizes continuous incremental improvement, just small, ongoing adjustments.
Single tweaks adding up.
Precisely. So when you combine those two powerful ideas, you start to create a culture where quality becomes almost automatic. Waste gets systematically squeezed out. Perfection isn't some static goal you hit once, it's this ongoing journey.
Okay, so no more patchwork solutions then. You're actually fixing the foundation.
Exactly. You're fundamentally changing how things are done from the ground up. No more Band-Aids.
That sounds, well, incredibly powerful for transforming pretty much any process. Our sources dig into 5 fundamental approaches, almost like 5 pillars, that really help achieve the sustainable quality. What's in this toolkit for us?
It is a very practical toolkit, yeah. Each piece gives you a different lens, a different strategy for improvement.
Okay.
So first up, we have Gemba. This is maybe the most fundamental. You literally go to the actual place where the work happens, where the problem is occurring.
Get out of the office.
Exactly. Go see it. You observe the flow. You talk to the people doing the work every single day. It's about direct engagement with the reality, not just reading reports or making assumptions. One source put it really well. It's about directly touching the real problems. You're seeing it, hearing it, feeling it right where it happens.
Getting your boots dirty, as they say. Okay, what's next in the toolkit?
Next is Poka-yoke. It basically translates to arrow-proofing.
Error-proofing.
Yeah. Think simple, clever solutions designed to prevent mistakes before they can even happen. Like, a USB plug only fitting one way.
Ah, right. Physical constraints.
Exactly. There's systematic actions you can implement. And importantly, they don't always need big investments. A really compelling insight here is that Poka-yoke isn't just preventing errors, it makes waste impossible to hide.
Okay.
Imagine this is like a simple jig on an assembly line that only lets parts fit the right way. Maybe it cuts assembly errors by, say, 80% overnight. Tiny investment, huge return.
Wow.
You integrate these into the process, solve problems before they start. It leads to sustainable quality because you're literally designing failure out of the system.
Designing failure out. I like that phrasing. That's brilliant. What about balancing things out, fluctuations in demand?
Good question. That brings us to the third approach, Haijunka. It's about production leveling.
Kaijunka. Okay.
Yeah, it's all about balancing your production against the ups and downs of customer demand. When you do this well, You dramatically reduce bottlenecks, you increase flexibility.
So you're not scrambling when orders spike or idle when they dip.
Precisely. Think about a factory trying to make everything at once during a peak, then sitting quiet. Hygiunkus smooths that all out. You work with lower but consistent stock levels. This also means if you do have an issue, your scrap costs are minimized because you're not holding tons of potentially bad inventory.
Right, less exposure.
Exactly. And the result is this great combination: low cost, high quality, efficient production, and ultimately happier customers because things are more predictable. It's about achieving a steady, predictable flow.
Makes sense. Keep things running smoothly. But what about when errors do happen? Because, they still might.
They still might, absolutely. And that's where Jigoku comes in. It's often described as automation with a human touch, or maybe more directly, the idea of stopping production immediately when an error occurs.
Stop the line.
Stop the line, essentially. Instead of letting a faulty product continue down and maybe even reach a customer, you have systems in place, things like and-on systems, maybe a light flashes or an alarm sounds, or in-place quality applications. These automatically halt production the moment an error is detected. The core idea here isn't just quality control after the fact. It's quality at the process level.
So you catch it right then and there.
Right then and there. It lets the team focus on the root cause immediately. This means fewer complaints down the line, lower scrap costs, more efficient production overall, and better customer satisfaction because you're fixing errors quickly where they happen and stopping them from spreading.
So it's not just about machines being automated, but it's empowering the people to react instantly when the system flags an issue.
That's a perfect way to put it. The system has the intelligence to spot the problem, and the human operator has the immediate power and responsibility to investigate and fix the underlying cause.
Got it. And the last one.
And finally, we have the famous 5S. It stands for sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain.
Ah, yes. 5S workplace organization.
Exactly. It's all about creating an organized, standardized workspace or production site.
Yeah.
Our sources really emphasize that the order of the production site is perhaps the most fundamental starting point.
Why is that so fundamental?
Because when your workspace is orderly, clean, free from clutter, problems just become visible. Areas for improvement become clear. With 5S, it's not just about being tidy for tidiness' sake. It's about making waste, inefficiency, and problems impossible to hide.
Okay, so they stand out more.
They stand out dramatically. The sources note that when order is established, many problems seem to almost solve themselves, or they become so glaringly obvious they're practically screaming for attention. It leaves you to focus on the more strategic adjustments. Plus, it really transforms the work culture along with the quality.
So a clean, organized space isn't just, nice to work in. It's actually a powerful problem-solving tool itself. I like that connection.
It really is.
Okay, now let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that can silently, really drain an organization's resources. Our sources bring up a concept that's often overlooked, or at least underestimated: the cost of poor quality. COPQ.
COPQ.
They use this vivid iceberg analogy. The things you see like scrap costs or warranty claims, that's just the visible tip. What's really lurking under the surface of that iceberg?
Ah, the iceberg. It's such a good analogy because COPQ is this much broader structure that's just quietly eroding profitability. When we break it down, there are really two main categories of these costs. First, you've got the visible or direct costs.
The obvious stuff.
The obvious stuff, yeah. The ones we tend to think of first. That's your scrap costs for products you just can't use, the rework costs for fixing faulty ones you can salvage, and then all the costs after it leaves your door: customer returns, warranty claims, screening, repairs. These are tangible, usually easier to track on a spreadsheet. But then, and this is where it gets really insidious, as you said, we have the invisible or indirect costs. These are the ones that truly sneak up on you.
The hidden part of the iceberg.
The massive hidden part.
Yeah.
This includes things like unplanned downtime, because a machine went down due to a quality issue, speed losses on the line, just general low production efficiency because you're dealing with non-conforming products. You also see dips in key metrics like OEE, overall equipment effectiveness.
Right, the big manufacturer metric.
Exactly. And OLE, overall labor effectiveness, OPE, overall process effectiveness, these drop because of all the unplanned things you have to do to deal with poor quality. And maybe the sneakiest of all: opportunity costs.
Opportunity costs, like what?
Like potential sales you lost because your reputation for quality isn't great, or projects you couldn't take on because your resources were tied up fixing problems. The key insight from our sources here is really powerful. The invisible part of the cost of poor quality often has the potential to be larger than the visible part.
Wow. That's actually incredible. The hidden costs can outweigh the ones you actually track easily. But if they're so hidden, how do the sources suggest we even start to, unearth them? And why is it so crucial to actually put a number on COPQ? Why not just be aware it exists?
Well, being aware is the first step, but putting a number on it gives it power. You start by really mapping out your process, identifying every single touch point where an error could occur. Then you meticulously track the time lost, materials wasted, the extra effort expended at each of those points.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It can be, but this is where that Gemba walk we talked about becomes invaluable again. Seeing the process firsthand often reveals these hidden drains much better than just looking at data. Now, calculating COPQ is critical for several strategic reasons.
Okay.
First, it lets you accurately calculate the true profitability of your projects or products, gives you a much clearer picture of your financial health. Second, it helps you prioritize your improvement efforts correctly. You focus on the things causing the biggest financial drain, not just the loudest complaints.
Makes sense. Follow the money.
Follow the money. Third, you can calculate the ROI, the return on investment, for any improvements you're proposing. If you want to invest in, say, error proofing, you can show exactly how much COPQ it will eliminate.
Building the business case.
Exactly. And that leads to the fourth point. Having these clear financial figures helps you get that necessary management support. You need budget for quality initiatives. Showing the cost of not doing it, the QOPQ, is incredibly persuasive. It turns quality from this sort of subjective nice-to-have into a measurable financial imperative.
That really reframes how you think about investing in quality, doesn't it? It's not a cost center. It's preventing much larger hidden costs.
Precisely. It's an investment with a clear return.
Okay, brilliant. Now let's tackle that common frustration. I think probably everyone listening has felt this. You think you've solved a problem, you put a fix in place, and then bam, weeks or months later, it pops right back up again.
The whack-a-mole problem.
Exactly. It feels like whack-a-mole. The real challenge often isn't just spotting the problem. It's truly understanding why it's happening in the first place. And this is where another fantastic tool comes in, one that sounds almost too simple. The 5 whys technique.
Yes, the 5 whys. What's really striking about it is just how profound its impact can be despite its sheer simplicity. The process is straightforward. When a problem occurs, you ask why.
Okay.
Then, whatever the answer is, you ask why about that answer. And you keep going, usually about 5 times or until you get to a point where asking why, again, doesn't yield a useful answer. Or, ideally, you reach a fundamental systemic cause you can actually address.
Right.
It sounds basic, but it's really a disciplined way of thinking, not just a quick Q&A.
It sounds almost like being a detective, you know? Always asking just one more question, but for organizational problems.
Yeah.
What are the real payoffs here? Why go through those 5 layers?
The payoffs are truly transformative, really. First, it forces you, absolutely forces you, to get past the obvious, superficial answers. The first why often points to something easy, like, oh, human error or the equipment failed.
The immediate symptom.
Exactly. But the last why, if you do it right, almost always reveals deeper systemic issues. Things like gaps in training, procedures that aren't adequate, maybe even fundamental design flaws in the process or product itself.
So you get to the real root cause.
The real root cause. Second, and this is crucial, problems stay solved. When you address these real systemic causes, you prevent the problem from coming back. Quick fixes, those Band-Aids we talked about, they might make the immediate pain go away, maybe make your monthly report look okay.
Right.
But they don't stop it from happening again. 5 whys forces you to dig deeper for a permanent solution. And third, and I've seen this happen so many times, the team starts thinking differently. Once people learn this discipline of questioning beyond the surface, they develop a much more proactive mindset. They start asking why about things before they become problems. It helps catch potential issues earlier. It really cultivates a culture of genuine problem prevention, not just reaction.
That shift in mindset sounds incredibly valuable. But, you know, for a technique that seems so simple on the surface, there must be a key to doing it right. It can't just be asking any 5 whys, can it?
No, absolutely not. Its success really hinges on discipline. First, you need the right people involved, people who actually know the process inside and out, who work with it daily, or who have access to the relevant data.
Get the experts in the room.
Get the real experts in the room. Second, every single answer, every step of the way must be based on facts and data, not on assumptions, opinions, or just gut feelings.
Stick to what you know.
Stick to what you can verify. And third, critically, you mustn't stop asking why until you find something that can be systematically changed. The goal isn't just to find a reason. It's to find an actionable, system-level change you can implement.
That's the key, finding something you can actually fix in the system.
Precisely. And here's some really crucial advice that came through in our sources. Avoid the blame game. When problems occur, don't point fingers at individuals.
That's tempting sometimes, though.
It is tempting, but it's counterproductive.
Mm.
Pointing fingers usually means the real underlying system issues remain unaddressed, and guess what? They'll just keep happening, maybe with a different person next time.
Right.
So instead of blaming people, the focus has to be on fixing the systems and the processes that allowed the problem to occur in the first place. That's the fundamental shift.
Focus on the process, not the person.
Exactly. The real value here isn't just solving today's problem, though that's important. It's building the capability, the muscle memory, within the organization to prevent tomorrow's problems. And as a side benefit, it also provides excellent documentation for things like audits. It shows you've done a thorough investigation and you're proactive about quality.
Okay, so wrapping this up then. What does this all mean for you, the listener? We've journeyed through quite a bit here, from the core philosophy of building quality right from the start with Lean and Kaizen. We explored those 5 powerful tools for process transformation like Gemba, Poka-yoke, 5S. We uncovered those often hidden, really significant costs of poor quality, the CPQ iceberg.
Right, the hidden part.
And we learned how to truly get to the root of problems and make them stay solved using the 5 whys. These aren't just, abstract management theories. They are practical, actionable tools. You can use them to drive efficiency and excellence in pretty much any domain you can think of: factory, office, even your own personal projects.
Yeah, and if we just zoom out for a final thought here, these really aren't just industrial methodologies anymore. They're fundamentally frameworks for critical thinking, for continuous improvement. And that applies to any system, any project, even our own personal habits, really. Which kind of begs an important question, doesn't it? Where in your own life or in your own work could you maybe apply a quick Gemba walk just to really see a problem firsthand? Or where could you ask why 5 times to uncover a root cause you've maybe been overlooking instead of just, patching up that same symptom again and again?
That's a great question to leave people with. Think about that. The power to transform processes, save costs, and genuinely solve problems, it really is at your fingertips, starting with some of these insights we've discussed. Until next time, keep diving deep.